So we got three players, LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George, all leaning Los Angeles. So let's give you an update on it. Chris Paul is reportedly recruiting LeBron James hard to go to Houston. But Chris Paul has no interest in going to the Lakers. Scratch him off the list. You know the key to this thing? This Kawhi, LeBron, Paul George thing? LeBron's the most talented. I'd argue Kawhi's the second most talented. I'd argue Paul George is the third most talented. But Paul George is the most important. Because Kawhi's not going to be here potentially until the trading deadline, because Gregg Popovich is just going to be difficult and not do anybody any favors. So Kawhi probably is not in L.A. until the trading deadline. That's in February. And LeBron James, I doubt very seriously, is going to come here by himself and just cross his fingers that it works out with Lonzo Ball. That ain't happening. Paul George is the guy you've got to land first. Because Paul George came out a year ago and told his boss in Indianapolis, I want to go be in LA and be a Laker. So Paul George isn't that happy in OKC. And if the money was even, he wouldn't even consider OKC. Magic Johnson and the Lakers dumped a story a week ago, which we found really confusing at the time, to Adrian Wojnarowski. And I said it has very few details, very cloudy. I don't get it. The story was this. Paul George and LeBron need to start talking. That was the story. And I came on the air. Joy, you were not here full-time yet. You may or may not have been here. And I said it that day. I said, okay, they just dumped a story to Woj. I don't even know what the hell it means, but they dumped a story. We now know what it means. Is that to avoid tampering, the Lakers sent out a message to LeBron and Paul George. You guys got to, do some speed dating here. You guys got to get this figured out. Folks, the most talented person is not always the most valuable person at a company. Paul George has already said, I just want to be a Laker. He said that before LeBron was interested. He said that before the Kawhi news. You know LeBron's not coming here by himself and crossing his fingers, hoping people come. And Kawhi Leonard probably isn't here until the trading deadline. So if I'm Magic Johnson, your highest percentage bet is landing Paul George. That's the one everybody feels strongly about. Okay, Kawhi, trading deadline. LeBron, a lot of options. Paul George, I want to be a Laker. So the first day, July 1st, is the day you can talk to these players. July 1st, the Lakers need to talk to Paul George, come to an agreement, and then put the story, leak the story, report the story to all the sources, to all the news organizations, to me, to Woj, to whatever. Because once you land that, then it's going to work. But everybody now is putting Paul George into this, well, maybe we get Paul George and maybe we don't get Paul George. No. You got to get Paul George first. You got to get Paul George first. Yeah, by the way, that's how the Miami Heat did it. Okay? You get a little Chris Bosh coming into town with Dwayne Wade, then LeBron's like, okay, low risk. That's how the Miami Heat did it. Bosh Wade, LeBron's like, got my big, got my guard, got my friend, got Pat Riley. Here I come. So Paul George may not be the best. He's the most valuable. And that, John, has been another edition of
Laker Watch 2018.
There is a big difference between a bad person and a good person having a bad moment. I know a lot of good people had a bad day. I've had a lot of good bosses make bad decisions. There's a difference between bad boss and just good boss made a bad decision. There's a difference between a guy gets an injury and an injury-prone player, Kyrie Irving. There's a narrative out there now that Kawhi Leonard, that guy's crazy. You don't want anything to do with him. I read a story this morning in Boston. A local Boston reporter is saying, this guy quit on his team. There's no way I want Kawhi Leonard. Stay away from Kawhi Leonard. I don't trust this guy, Kawhi Leonard. That's a local story. Charles Barkley's a national voice. We got the Boston reporter, whoo, bad guy, stay away. Charles Barkley's very prominent. Charles Barkley's like, this is on Kawhi. My friend Jason Whitlock, speak for yourself. He says, buyer beware on Kawhi Leonard.
I'm saying if I'm the Lakers or any other franchise, I'm like, well, damn. He's never played 82. He just missed 72 games or 73 games this year. And I'm supposed to trade for this guy and then give him a max deal eventually?
I don't think it's high risk, but yeah, you have to take those things into consideration. But you had to do it with Kyrie Irving, too.
And how did that work for Boston?
Yep. Oh, so I got a Boston reporter. Stay away. I got Charles Barkley. It's cowardly. I got Whitlock and Broussard. Poor Kawhi Leonard's a bum. Okay, I'm going to go the opposite way on this. There is a difference. High school, quiet, hardworking, overachieving player. College, quiet, hardworking, overachieving player. First 5 years in the league, quiet, hardworking, overachieving player. And then in year 6, aggressive, manipulative, bully Gregg Popovich sends players out to rip Kawhi, and Kawhi's deeply offended, doesn't trust him, and wants out. Don't confuse bad guy and bad moment. A lot of good people listening and watching this show. You're a good person. You were a jerk to your wife 2 weeks ago. That make you a bad husband. You had a bad moment. You had a meltdown. And that, of course, has never happened to me. But, I'm just using these examples. Here's what I know. Rajon Rondo fights with everybody everywhere. Boogie Cousins fights with everybody everywhere. Dwight Howard was traded again this morning. Can't get along with anybody anywhere. Here's what I know about Kawhi Leonard. He's either the first or the second best two-way player in the NBA. And in high school, was a hardworking overachiever. In college, was a hardworking overachiever. And in the NBA, was a hardworking overachiever. That's all he is. And then he got into a situation where he's nonverbal, his boss is super verbal, and they just don't get along. It should be noted, LaMarcus Aldridge a year ago said, I don't like playing under Popovich either. It's not the first guy. It's not the first guy. So I am here to defend a good kid who's had a bad year. That's different than a bad kid who's trouble. Shame on Barkley, Whitlock, and Broussard. What about the children? Somebody has to defend these players, and it's going to be me, and I'm okay with it. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.